First of all, I want to say that I'm proud of you for taking this course. Almost every single one of you is extremely nervous to give speeches in front of other people. But gaining knowledge and gaining skill comes as we step outside of our comfort zone. So hopefully this semester we can step out of our comfort zone together. So the goal is to create an environment where we feel comfortable knowing that we're just here to learn. Making mistakes is okay. We don't have to be perfect. In fact, even some of the best speakers out there makes mistakes occasionally. And that's okay, because more than being perfect, your audience wants to see authenticity. They want to see that you are a real person. So we're going to find balance between being ourselves, being natural and being comfortable while we're up there, while also trying to improve our ability to speak well, to have good ideas, and to deliver our ideas well. So let me walk through a couple of things that typically cause anxiety when it comes to speaking, and then some of the things that you might do to help mitigate those, and we'll practice the rest in class. First thing I want you to know is that anxiety in any situation often comes because we experience uncertainty, because we don't know what's going to happen. If I could convince you that you were going to stand up in front of the class, you were going to give an awesome speech, and everybody was going to love it, and we're all going to clap and cheer for you as you walk down to your seat, you probably wouldn't get nervous if you knew for a certainty that those things were going to happen. The problem is there's a lot of unknown when it comes to public speaking. Am I going to mess up? Am I going to forget my words? Are they going to like my joke? Are they going to laugh at the right places? Are they going to understand? Are they going to like the way that I look? Right? There's a lot of things that we're uncertain about. Knowing that is important because that can help you understand why you're feeling certain things and how you can either reframe them to feel something different or change your environment or change your situation so you can reduce some of that uncertainty. Take a moment to consider why you think you feel anxious about public speaking. So I want you to literally take a moment to do this. Just go ahead and pause the video and think about why you feel anxious giving speeches. The reason why that was important for you to do is it can help you to know which of the following steps are going to be most useful for you. I have students with a wide variety of reasons for what causes them anxiety. So the solution is not one fit for everyone. You need to know yourself well enough to know what is going to work for you and what is not going to work for you. One of the common things that causes anxiety about speeches is that we just don't do it very often. So they are a novelty, meaning they're a new thing for most of us. So whenever we do something that we're not used to, it causes us anxiety. That's a natural emotion, right? Anytime you go skydiving for the first time, anytime you ask a girl out for the first time, anything you're doing for the first time, your first day at a job, you're likely to feel some anxiety because of the novelty involved. So here are some things that you can do to help reduce your anxiety if you are worried about the novelty. Maybe this is your first time giving a speech or you don't get to do it very often. One useful thing to do is connect with your audience members. That might help you feel more comfortable in the situation and make it feel like the whole thing is not so new. You're not talking to strangers. Now you have a couple of friends. The other really important thing to do is familiarize yourself with the environment. Whenever I'm giving a big speech and I'm nervous about it, I like to show up the day before or at least a couple hours early and walk up and stand where I'm going to be while I'm giving the speech when there's no audience there. That helps me to get more comfortable with the space because sometimes I get a little bit of anxiety not knowing, am I going to be able to walk over here? Are they going to be able to hear me from this point? So I can reduce that anxiety by familiarizing myself with the space. You can do the same thing with technology and any other part of the environment. Sometimes your body sends you signals because it thinks that you are in danger, right? That's just how our bodies work. Sometimes, though, our bodies are wrong and we need to correct them. So you might find that you maybe are sweaty or that you have a high blood pressure or your heart is beating, right? Those are signs that our bodies were trained to give us so that we could learn to run away from the tiger out in the woods, right? But there's no more tigers that are going to chase us. You're not going to be in any physical danger by standing up in front of your peers. So one thing that you need to do if this is what you're experiencing is retrain your body to show it that there is no immediate danger when you're giving a speech. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to attack you. No one's going to throw rotten fruit at you, at least not in our class. And so you can help rewire your brain to tell it, I see that you're sending me signals right now to show me I should be nervous, but I'm telling you that there's really nothing for me to be afraid of. So you can do that by making sure you're sitting up straight, keeping good body posture, taking deep breaths. I like to go for walks right before I give a speech. It helps remind my body, you know what, this is just a normal thing. I'm not in any danger where I have to run away. Another reason why a lot of individuals feel anxiety is that they have unrealistic beliefs, either expectations about what's going to happen, unrealistic beliefs about what happens when you fail, unrealistic beliefs about what the audience is thinking. Let me just get this out of the way. I have, at least once a semester, a student who gets up to give their speech and completely freezes and can't say anything, and they have to sit down without having said anything, which means, unfortunately, that, yeah, they fail that speech. However, those students, if they continue to work hard, can still get good grades in the class. So failing a speech is not even going to hurt your GPA, right? Let alone it's not going to hurt you physically. It's not going to make any of us dislike you. It's not going to make it so that you don't have food on your table. So this is a low stakes place for us to practice where really there's no negative effects of us doing poorly. So the best way to manage this is through cognitive restructuring. That's where you simply reframe your expectations to make sure that you are setting them more realistically. You may also be nervous because this is your first time being in the spotlight, or just generally you don't like being in the spotlight. And I get that. I'm rather introverted myself. I like to be alone. I don't love big social events. However, a lot of us experience what we call the spotlight effect, where we think in our minds that other people think about us more than they actually do, right? So if I'm walking down the hall and I trip and fall, I might think that's really embarrassing because I look around and maybe people are snickering a little bit. But in 5 to 10 minutes, most of them have forgotten that it even happened. Even though I'm still thinking about it and I think they're still thinking about it, most of them have completely forgotten it. We have a tendency to think other people think about us more than they actually do. So my key here is to shift from thinking about myself to thinking about my audience. You can't, or your mind can't really think about two things at once. So if you become more concerned about what your audience needs are and what they're feeling, it tends to take away from your efforts to think about yourself. And it makes, at least for me, it makes it easier for me to reduce that anxiety. Now, I do see, just to be honest with you, I see individuals in this class that their anxiety tends to get higher as the class progresses. And the reason for that is you are going to learn the rules of public speaking this semester. And as you learn more of the rules, you're going to find more of the ways when you're breaking the rules. That's naturally going to make you a little bit more anxious. But what I see is by the end of the semester, when they get comfortable with those rules, then the anxiety tends to drop off. So the way to manage your anxiety, if it is because there's so many rules that you don't know, is to learn the rules and practice rules, but then also learn when it's okay to break the rules. In public speaking, we have rules just so that we can manage expectations, but we also have rules so that we can break them, because breaking the rules can also be an effective tool as a public speaker. You are probably also aware that you are being evaluated this semester. I will be evaluating you and giving you grades. Your audience members will also be evaluating you and considering how good you are as a speaker. That's going to be a part of every speech throughout your entire life. However, it doesn't have to be a crippling part of it. In fact, that's why I have made this first speech not graded. So that way you don't have to worry about evaluation for at least this first speech. The way to best handle this, if you're nervous about being evaluated, is to practice. It's hard work, and there's no roundabout way of fixing this or solving it, but put in the effort to, one, know your topic. So do your research. Make sure you know everything you can about your topic. So if you get up there and your mind blanks and you can't remember what you're going to say next, you still have a whole bunch of other information on the topic that you can jump to. Okay? And practice delivery. Practice, practice, practice. Get to where you're comfortable delivering. Not a memorized delivery. because we're not going to do that this semester. We're not going to just get up and memorize our speech over and over again. In fact, sometimes that can hurt speaking. But practice giving your speech in different ways. Practice talking about it with your friends and telling the same story in 3 different ways, and that'll help you get more comfortable talking in front of your peers. And again, consider your audience. If you're afraid of being evaluated, do you think other people in your audience are also thinking about what other people think about them? Yeah, pretty much everybody is always thinking, what do other people think about me? And so if you're focusing on your audience and helping them to feel comfortable, it's going to be more likely that you're going to feel comfortable. The key here is to just do it, right? You're going to get over your anxiety by practicing. Our minds like evidence. We like to look at what the evidence is for something. So if somebody says that they like us, we like to think through, okay, what's the evidence? Oh, they held my hand, or they called me last night, or they sent me messages, right? We like to look for evidence in our life. So create evidence in your own mind that shows you that you're a good speaker. And the way to do that is to do small speeches and to build up over time. Convince yourself that you're a good speaker by doing it. The more that you compile this evidence that you can do public speaking, the more you're going to reduce your anxiety over public speaking.